Query Visibility Point feature is a real-time dynamic version of the output ZVI ZTV visibility point feature command, and it's useful in the early stages of a ZVI ZTV analysis, in that it will very quickly give you some idea of whether you have an issue with a specific point or groups of points that you are proposing to place in the terrain. We select Query Visibility Point feature. We can only look for one specific point feature at a time, and what I've done here is placed three 40-meter high wind turbines, and they're all called P40T. If I had similar features that had exactly the same code, but I didn't want to include them in this analysis, then I could place a surface feature around these and then only look for them within this specific surface feature. Now if we look at the definition for that feature, you will see that it is a 40-meter high point feature. We need to define the eye height, so that's the height of the person walking along the terrain, and we need to define a maximum sight distance, and I've left the default at 10,000 meters. We can adjust for earth curvature and refraction, and as soon as we select next, we can move the cursor around the screen, and when we click with the cursor, what should happen is that it will attempt to draw a line from that cursor location at 1.6 meters above the terrain surface to each visible P40T point feature. Now it has done the task, because in the lower left hand corner it says that it has found 3 target points visible from that eye point, with a maximum distance to the furthest one of 308 meters. But I can't see a line drawn from the eye to the targets, and that's because the mapping backdrop I'm using is predominantly white, and in my configure hardware system I'm assuming that the background color for this survey is black, therefore it's drawing white on white. So what you might want to do here is say, well, actually the screen background is predominantly white, therefore draw the opposite color to that. So if the command doesn't appear to be working, just have a look in the lower left, and if it says it is working but you can't see any lines, just go and check the colors. We can now see the lines drawn to each of those turbines. If we move behind a heighted link feature, such as we have here, then that heighted link feature is casting a shadow, therefore we can't see those points. But as we move further away from that heighted link feature, we can now see the wind turbines. If we go into this woodland, which if I show you that using query section and draw a line from the turbine, or one of the turbines, to the far side of this woodland, you will see there's the turbine and there's the slope. Now that woodland doesn't have a surface feature height. If it did have a height, then as we moved our eye towards the woodland and into the woodland, then it would not then see the wind turbines. But because this woodland doesn't have a height, then I can effectively see through the woodland. So what I would do in that instance is go to Configure Legend, amend surface, locate the woodland, give it a height commensurate with its characteristics, and now when I draw a section from that turbine across the woodland, we'll now see a heighted woodland feature. That means that when I do a visibility point feature, I can see the point features right up to the edge of the woodland, and then as soon as I go into the woodland, It then says in the lower left, surface height at selected point greater than eye height. So it's casting a shadow. And the same would go coming around the reverse side of this woodland. So it's important to note then that heighted surfaces and heighted links form a barrier to a line of sight.